One of my favorite quotes comes from André Gide, the French author and winner of the 1947 Nobel Prize in Literature. And that quote is this: "In order to discover new lands, one must be willing to lose sight of the shore for a very long time." Would you join me in saying that? In order to discover new lands, one must be willing to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. We all have those moments when we lose sight of something. We all have those moments when one day we open our eyes and look around, nothing seems familiar. Nothing feels the way we want it to feel. Nothing is the way we planned it to be, and our life, although we know on some level it is a gift and that it is precious, our life feels like a burden or a challenge or just something to be gotten through, something to survive. We all know what that feels like on a personal or professional or spiritual level. Author Keith Gesson writes, "The life I had then was slipping away. I could feel it. And I had developed the notion that some nudge, some shift, or alternately some miracle might help me fit everything back into place. I was open to influence then, to any influence. I was ready to rearrange myself if that's what it took, because the plans that I'd had for myself had faltered somewhere, and I could not tell why. I was lost. I was lost." Keith Gesson is, in some ways, writing about many of our lives. I think that many of us feel at least a little lost right now. How could we not? We've just lived through a deadly worldwide pandemic that truly traumatized us all. We're still living with the residual impact of that trauma, seen in part in the rise of anxiety, depression, and other mental health challenges that we or our loved ones are struggling with every day. I think many of us here feel at least a little lost right now. How could we not? We've watched as abortion and bodily autonomy was stolen from us by a stacked Supreme Court fueled by radical right-wing ideology out of step with the majority of Americans. I think many of us feel at least a little lost right now. How could we not? We see what is happening to freedom in red states, and we fear for our future. We see the ongoing violence of white supremacy culture and fear for our future. We see the looming presidential election and fear for our future. We see the impact of climate change and fear for the future. We live within worry after worry after worry. Dr. Martina McGowan, whose poetry highlights perspectives on the lives of people of color, women, and other marginalized and oppressed people, writes these universal words: "Worry is the little death chipping at the commonplace of our lives, upsetting our balance. It ridicules our joy, upbraids our accomplishment, and indiscriminate acts cleaving good from bad, repeatedly missing its mark. Worry is the little death that disconnects us, dissects us, disengages us from community, exiling us to a foreign, lonely land in a private bubble of despair, picking at the remnants we feel can never be destroyed. Picking at the remnants we feel can never be restored. At times like that, in times like these, and I've done it, I tape to my bathroom mirror these words: in order to discover new lands, one must be willing to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. And let's say that again together. In order to discover new lands, one must be willing to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. Journalist and author Joan Anderson has faced times like these in her personal life. In her book, Road Back to Yourself, The Second Journey, Joan Anderson notes, most of us at some point when the possibility of failure presents itself and the dreams of earlier times seem shallow and pointless. And then we find ourselves asking the tough questions. What am I meant to do now? What really matters? For many years, I had ignored these questions, she writes, because I had too many responsibilities, too many other lives to consider. But all of a sudden, there were no more excuses. Old truths and ideals no longer served me. I was restless and full of an undefined ache, standing at a crossroads with no clear idea of what path to follow. So I took a leap of faith and dove headlong into the unknown. Joan Anderson continues, the call to a second journey as she calls it, usually commences when unexpected change is thrust upon you, causing a crisis of feelings so great you're stopped in your tracks. Personal events such as betrayal, a diagnosis of a serious illness, the death of a loved one, loss of self-esteem, a fall from power are only a few of the catalysts. A person caught thusly has no choice but to reevaluate the direction in which she should head. Should she stay the course or choose another path? Should we stay the course or should we choose another path? Janine Palmy Vega, a poet of the 1960s Beat generation and a leading voice in the feminist movement, picks up on these questions and takes us one step further. I have discovered, she says, you do not need to know what you are looking for, only that you are looking for something and need to find it. That does the work. A readiness to receive that finds the answers. It's like a silent voice within that says, stop worrying where you're going. And so, if we heed that advice, stop worrying where we're going, we step into the unknown without an expectation of what we will find there, where we will end up, where all of this that we're living in will end up. We step into the unknown with an openness to just receive. We step into the unknown simply to take a journey. It becomes a journey into mystery. As author Phil Cousineau reminds us, a journey where wonder takes the place of certainty. I wonder. Let's see. It's like we sang just a few minutes ago. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we're going to get there, but we know we will. We know we will. Unitarian Universalist ministers Christine Robinson and Alicia Hawkins write, "A journey changes us. Journeys are not always taken voluntarily, and the mythologies of journeys, of which there are a great deal, suggest that the hero or the heroine often refuse the journey at first. No way, not going there." They continue saying, "Healing from a medical crisis often feels like an unchosen journey that we would have refused if we could. But that time can be a fruitful period of growth in our lives, nonetheless. A relationship change or a sudden death can catapult us on a most uncomfortable, painful journey. But if we're lucky, we will find that we have changed for the better at its end. Even we set off on a journey with willing excitement, it has often unexpected and unchosen twists and turns. What makes a journey worthwhile, what makes our journey worthwhile is psychological movement, insight, growth, and a new direction in life. What makes a journey is psychological movement, insight, growth, a new direction for our lives. I faced such a journey some 13 years ago when Jim, my husband of 26 years, told me he was ending our marriage, something that shattered me. In the space of one short conversation, the future I had imagined was gone. A stability I cherished was gone. A family was splintered, and I was standing alone trying to pick up the pieces of my heart and my life. This was not a journey I would have chosen on my own. It was a journey I absolutely did not want to take. But over time, with time, lots of time, a new sense of self emerged that was more grounded and more resilient. That has served me well, especially in those early days of the pandemic. The journey also allowed me to become a kinder, less self-focused person. The journey of divorce also gave me a flexibility that led me to you, this congregation. Fresno, this church, and all of you would never have been a possibility if I was still married, because Boston would have always remained home. What makes a journey is psychological movement, insight, growth, and a new direction for our lives. The choir beautifully reminded us about this at the start of the service this morning, when, in their prelude, they sang these lyrics by Pat Humphrey. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, binding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I'm preparing to do my part. I move forward with my senses open, imperfection, it be my crime, in humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. We step or swim into the unknown, not knowing what will happen, but knowing that whatever happens, we will change, we will pivot to meet the challenges and opportunities that appear. And as our Unitarian Universalist faith tells us, we need not do this on our own. We have companions for the journey. We have each other. We need each other. One of our core values of Unitarian Universalism is interdependence, which tells us over and over that we are not alone. We are connected to each other. We are connected for each other. We are responsible for each other. We're taking this journey together. Again, the words sung by our choir. We are living neath the great Big Dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. These words remind me of a prophecy made 24 years ago by a Hopi elder. This Hopi elder declared, "There is a river flowing now very fast. They say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I say, see who is in there with you and celebrate. See who is in here with you and celebrate." And as we do, may we remind each other as we're swimming along that in order to discover new lands, we must be willing to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. Que así sea, bendito sea. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.